Good morning. Welcome to the 2020 Annual Fire Chiefs Meeting. For those of you that are visiting us today through WebEx, we have a few logistics issues to discuss real quick. First of all, through the host, all of the viewers have been muted. If you would like to discuss something or have something brought up, please use the chat function to send a message to our host, and they will unmute you, or you can unmute your mic at that time and we will recognize you. We'd like to extend a special thank you to the Office of the State Fire Marshal for helping us assist with having this virtual meeting. At this time, I would like to call to order the meeting and declare our business session open. I'd like to invite our first Vice President, Chris Langham, to the podium for our opening prayer.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you would, please bow your heads. Most gracious and loving Almighty God, Lord, we just thank you for the many blessings in which you've given us. We thank you for the blessing of being part of the fire service. We thank you for the blessing of the opportunity to serve and to love one another like you. Lord, I pray that as we go through this pandemic, and though we're not together, that you will look after all of us. We pray for your continued guidance and direction. I pray that you will bless these proceedings of this board and of the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs and the North Carolina Fire Service as a whole. All this I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Chief Sumney will now come up, our treasurer, and give us our treasurer's report.
Good morning. I'd like to give you a brief rundown on our balances. As of June 30th, our year end, our total assets totaled $273,394.60. Also, with our new balance, last year, from August until June, we just changed our fiscal year end to get in line with everything else that we had. Our total income for 19 and 20 was $355,715.22. Total expenditures was $352,485.34 with a net income of $3,229.88. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chief Sumney. Can we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
President Hall, Kevin Gordon, I move to approve the treasurer's report. Second.
Thank you. Chief Gordon made a motion. Chief Cole seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Up next, we'll have Chief Tracy Mosley to come up and give us an update on the North Carolina Volunteer Workforce Solutions. Chief Mosley.
Thank you, Chief Hall. For our report for the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs Recruitment and Retention Grant Program, just to bring you up to date, there are 13 volunteer departments representing all regions of the state, both the East, Piedmont, and the West. And also we have 2 associations that are also in that as well this year. On July 9th, we had our virtual kickoff meeting with those departments and associations with our very own Chief Buddy Martinet as our keynote speaker, which went very well. Currently, our GIS tapestry reports have been mailed out to our recipients, which gives them an opportunity to look at the demographics of their community to find out where they can do the best recruiting within their area. Within this scholarship, as most of you already know, or within the grant, there are scholarships that will be available, as well as tuition assistance for those pilot departments. We would not necessarily or at all want to leave out any of the rest of the state. We want everyone to understand, just because these are our pilot departments, there is assistance that is there for the entire volunteer state of North Carolina, volunteer firefighters within North Carolina. So if you in need for any type of marketing materials, any information with recruitment and retention, please be sure to visit our website or reach out to me personally. My information is also on the website. We couldn't do this without our partners with the Volunteer Workforce Solutions and our IAFC staff, which are working with us. And Mr. President, that is my report.
Thank you, Chief Mosley, for that update. Now we're going to move into our President's report. 2019, 2020 has been a very unique and challenging year, but also a very eventful year. Our year was kicked off with a very intense planning session at the Cayuga Conference Center, where our board solidified our business plan. After the 2019 SAFER Conference, your board was busy preparing and delivering programs that you're familiar with. Some events were a first for the association, such as the first past president's reunion held on October the 3rd, 2019 at Pleasant Garden Fire Department. That also included a tour of the Fire Museum at Chief Donald Whitaker's home. That event was followed by our 2-week executive development program on October the 21st, featuring former Governor Pat McCrory. The 2020 Midwinter Conference was one of the most successful annual conferences your association has presented to date. Our conference brought record attendance from our members and vendors. We presented 2 summits led by Chief Ryan Cole, one on cancer and the other one on line of duty deaths. Colonel Kevin Gerard provided an inspiring and motivational charge for our attendees. A comprehensive rewrite of the association's bylaws were approved at the conference as well. A few short weeks following Midwinter Conference, our country and the world began feeling the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic. Everything stopped. We pressed the pause button. Unfortunately, 3 days prior to the opening session of our annual fire prevention school, we had to make the difficult decision to cancel that program, being the first cancellation in 60 years. As we have all been impacted from the pandemic, your board has been focused on staying connected with the fire service. A retooling of our communications and programs for the future is a priority for your board. All of our programs are being planned for a return in 2021. During the pandemic, we introduced a video series called The Command Post, where the association brings informative topics to the fire service. They are available through our website, with several more to be released in the coming weeks. Your board's work does not end with us at the state level. The North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs past president, Lynn Needham, is currently serving as the Southeastern Association of Fire Chiefs president. Your current seated NCAFC board members, Chief Buddy Martinette, serves as the second vice president, and Chief Ryan Cole serves as the North Carolina representative to the Southeastern Association of Fire Chiefs. This year, we mark the second 3-year recruitment and retention grant that Chief Mosley spoke of earlier. Our successful year would not have been possible without the support of the wonderful vendors that we connect with throughout our service, particularly our strategic partnership with Civic Federal Credit Union and Mr. Bill Carter. As we look forward to the 2020-2021 year, for the first time that we are aware of, the North Carolina Fire Service utilized an electronic voting method to select the Eastern Region Director position to fill the upcoming vacancy. Battalion Chief Jennifer Smith of New Hanover County Fire Rescue was selected by the Chiefs Association membership of the East. Congratulations to Chief Smith. And that concludes the President's report. At this time, we would like to move into the nominations for the North Carolina Association of Fire Chief Officers for 2020-2021. At this time, I will read our bylaws that cover this section, which is bylaws section 4.2. In order for a candidate to be eligible for nomination from the floor at the annual meeting, such candidate must have provided the executive director with written notice of their intent to run for one of the elected director positions no later than April the 1st of the year in which they intend to run. This year, we have up for vote or nominations are the position of the second vice president as well as the treasurer. Our executive director has informed me that the nomination requirements have been met by one nominee for second vice president, and that is Chief Buddy Martinet from the Wilmington Fire Department. Seeing as how he is the only nomination, I hereby move that he is affirmed as our second vice president by acclamation. The next position is for the treasurer of the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs. Again, our executive director provided me the name of the only nominee submitted, and that name was Chief Davey Sumney from Cedar Mountain Fire Department. Therefore, I, by acclamation, declare that Chief Sumney will be the treasurer for the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs. Thank you. At this time, I would like to turn the meeting over to our executive director, Chief Jake Wisnett, for some presentations.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the time each year that I try to give you a brief description of what's taken place over the leadership within our association over the past year. First of all, Chief Cole, who is now past president, will be rotating off that position. Chief Cole, thank you. You've been a colleague, you've been a boss, you've been a therapist to me, you've been a IT specialist 2 weeks before midwinter when the whole system crashed. And but most of all, you've been a good, loyal friend, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I don't think our past will end just with this. But again, I would like to thank all those who are watching, who have helped make this year another successful year for this association. And it takes the membership. We have a dedicated membership, and this board appreciates that. And we also have a dedicated board. As you know, it's a volunteer board. And we have a lot of talent and a lot of skills within your board, your chief's board. But with any, no matter whether it's private industry, organization, or association, you always have to have that leader to guide the talents. And that year, as you know, this year was President Hall. As in the past, he and I have always met weekly. And he's already mentioned some of the things during his president's report with the past president, some of the accomplishments that took place under his leadership. But one thing I was impressed with, I call it Groundhog Day, March 12th. It seemed like everything stopped March 12th. We were 3 days before the opening session of the 61st year of our fire prevention school. And when I notified him of the situation coming up, not only did he have his duties with his community, but he also helped this association guide through some of those difficult decisions that we had to make. And that's one thing, again, I admire, as you all know, leadership. The test of leadership really comes when you have those things pop up. that don't only affect your community or your association, but the whole nation. And through our weeks, as we were moving forward through this and the unknowns that everybody had, one of the things we were looking at, President Hall kept looking toward keeping that communication line open to our membership. What were the needs of the membership through this? How can we assist the membership through navigate through some of these unknown waters that we're all in? And I was just, I was very impressed. It's always been an honor for me to serve this board, but when I get a chance, when the new president steps up and I get a chance to work with him one-on-one, again, I feel real honored. And that's how I have felt this year. I have learned a lot under Chief Hall's leadership as president. He has taught me a lot, and he has shown a great deal through, again, some of these unknown waters. As we were talking the other day, we were trying to get some things for last minute for the association of memberships while he was having to deal with a hurricane within his own community. So, Chief Hall, again, it has been a pleasure. It has been wonderful. You are going into past presidents. That means we'll still get to take advantage of your leadership over the next year. But again, I cannot tell you personally how honored it has been for us to work close together week by week, especially, again, under what's taking place nationally. So with that, if you don't mind standing and join me. We have a plaque recognizing your leadership as Fire Chief Donnie R. Hall. In recognition for your vision, commitment to fostering cooperation, communication, and coordination of the fire and rescue community in our state, and for your leadership and service to the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs. These are not just words. This is an example that you put forth this year, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for your lovely wife, Karen, again, we'd like to thank the North Carolina Firefighters Association also for making this possible and helping us with the medallion necklace, if you would, if you'll present that to your wife.
Thank you.
And I want to say again before I recognize, yeah, it's been an honor, sir, and thank you. I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate and love you. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Langham first. Yes.
Chief Hall, if you could, or you can stay seated given our social distance, or you can stand and.
I'll keep my mask on.
Okay, keep your mask on. I'm going to. You know, as Chief Wisnett just said many of the things that I would echo, it's an honor to be able to work with what I call a quiet leader. You're a leader who walks with a quiet presence, but you're kind of like that old commercial, that E.F. Hutton commercial. When Chief Hall speaks, it's worth stopping and listening to. Your leadership is second to none. It has been an honor to learn from you, to receive guidance from you, to help us navigate these crazy waters that we're navigating. You have shared your family with all of us and those of us that serve on these boards. It truly is a family commitment to allow us to serve. And we thank you, and we thank Karen and your whole family for giving us you for a little while. So with that, I would like to present you with the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs President 2020, Donnie Hall Fire Helmet. And we also have a pin for you that recognizes that you are shortly becoming a past president. Thank you, Chief Hall, for your continued direction.
Thank you. So thank you for the helmet, the plaque, and Karen sends her thanks for the charm there. But, you know, what an incredible ride 2020 has really been. When I became president in August of 2019, I spoke of the momentum that the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs has, and also the heavy lift that the current board had in front of them. With all confidence, I can say that you have risen to that occasion. I'm proud of the work that you've accomplished this year. Our communities, our members, and our service is better because of the contributions that each of you make. Thank you. Chief Cole, you are rotating off the board. I'm not afforded the time to truly explain the contributions that you have made to the fire service. However, I can simply say that you are an inspiration and a servant leader that so many of us desire to be. Personally, I'm honored to call you friend. Thank you. Chief Wisnett, our executive director, the one that doesn't like the light to shine on him, little does he know how bright that beacon shines. Humble, respectful, but determined, I truly value our work together, but more so our friendship that's developed through this association that will be lifelong. Thank you. Jake said a while ago that we had our monthly calls, and there were quite a few occasions when he called that I always had a good excuse to explain to him why I didn't have something completed for him. And it was either a hurricane or another hurricane, a pandemic. I didn't quite get to use the earthquake as an excuse, but I was holding on to that one. In the few short minutes I have left, maybe something else will happen that I could use, but we got a kick out of talking about how many times I could continue to use those excuses, but it does seem like this 2019, 2020 time frame has brought a lot of situations to us. To the North Carolina State Firefighters Association, Chief Rich, Executive Director Tim Bradley, Assistant Director Ed Brinson, thank you for your help and your support throughout this year. To my friends at the Eastern Carolina Association, thanks for having trust in me to represent you and being a part of your board and representing the state for the last 6 years. To my home department, New Hanover County Fire Rescue, for supporting me and allowing me time away to serve in this association. I have to give special thanks to my managers that have supported me endlessly through this process. And finally, my family, Karen, the love of my life, my children, Brian, Maddie, Chloe, for walking with me and supporting me during this journey. But now, as we transition into new leadership, I'd like to ask Chief Chris Langham to come forward. As we started in our past midwinter conference, the incoming president will be provided the North Carolina President's Ring to start their year off. And I can only tell you how honored and how much respect I have for Chief Langham and his transition into moving into the presidency. I'm excited about where we are as an association, the position that we're in, and the opportunities that we have moving forward. So good luck to you. I am here to help and support you and help make this a better year in 2021 than it has been for us in 1920.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to ask our executive director to come up and introduce the 2021 North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs Board.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, it's my honor to do this each year. When I call your name, if you'd stand. This is to the membership, this is your 2021 officers for the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs. President, Chief Chris Langham, Hornytown Fire Rescue. First Vice President, Chief Kevin Gordon, Waco Fire and Rescue. Second Vice President, Chief Buddy Martinette, Wilmington Fire Department. Your Piedmont Director, Chief Dolly Hewlin, Thomasville Fire Rescue. Western Director, Chief Joey Webb, Waynesville Fire Department. Eastern Director, Chief Jennifer Smith, New Hanover County Fire Rescue. Treasurer, Chief Davey Summey, Cedar Mountain Fire and Rescue. And past President, Chief Donnie Hall of New Hanover County Fire and Rescue. And at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a no stranger to this board and to the fire service community of North Carolina, a past Executive Director, Chief Kenneth Mullen, to deliver the swearing-in oath to this board. Thank you, Chief Mullen.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and Jake said I could say a few things to you before I swear you in, so I'd like to do that. And first of all, in just a moment, you'll take an oath, an office that asks you to affirm that you will faithfully execute the duties of this office to which you've been elected or appointed. You're accepting a position of honor. There's few in our state that have an opportunity to do this. So for those reasons alone, you should clearly understand the definition of the phrase faithfully execute contained within the oath. It's an official promise that as an individual and as a board member representing the fire chiefs of North Carolina, that you will strive to be diligent in your duties, that you'll be careful that your actions bring honor and recognition to yourself as well as this organization, that in good faith you will carry out the responsibility of the position, that you're honest in your representation of all activity endorsed by this board and this association, and that you represent the membership impartially and without favoritism. Your service should reflect a desire to lead with integrity, to actively pursue opportunities to connect with your peers to ensure that our future leaders are prepared to assume your roles, and to utilize your position to collaborate with local, state, and national leaders to obtain resources that will keep our firefighting community not only reliable, but ready to respond when they're called upon. So in Nash County terms, here's the challenge. Don't just fill a chair, make a difference. Prepare for the oath. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that you will faithfully execute the duties of the office for which you have been elected or appointed to the best of your ability and according to the Constitution and bylaws of the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs and according to the law, so help you God? If so, say I will.
I will.
As an installing officer, I do hereby declare you duly installed.
Thank you, Chief Mullins. It was truly an honor to have you back here with us and for that swearing in, and Chief Hall for the presentation of that ring. The last time anybody ever gave me a ring in front of a group, I married her. So it felt real when you just gave me that ring. So thank you for that. And this is truly humbling to be standing here before you as the president of the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs. I can tell you that my walk through my career, it has been absolutely amazing. And I'm one of those folks that my entire life, I cannot remember a time that I didn't want to be a firefighter. And at the age of 14, I became a junior firefighter. And if you would have told me that I would be standing in this room with these great individuals representing an unbelievable organization and a North Carolina Fire Service, I would have never believed it would happen. I would like to congratulate Chief Rogers, Chief Scott Rogers, the new president of the North Carolina State Firefighters Association. I look forward to continuing our work together. I appreciate your leadership you bring and mostly appreciate your passion and your humor you have to make the North Carolina Fire Service better. I look forward, Chief Rogers, to working with you. You know, we always recognize the president as they go into the past president, and, you know, it really becomes final. And I think it was important for all of us to come together as a full board to recognize a true leader of this organization, and that's Chief Ryan Cole. First time I met Chief Ryan Cole, he was teaching my Fire Officer 3 class. And from that point forward, I've done nothing but continue to learn from him, learn from his expertise, and try to emulate his passion. And his passion will continue on as he's the North Carolina director of the Southeastern Association of Fire Chiefs. Chief Cole, thank you for everything you've done. I'd like to welcome Chief Smith onto the board. It's a journey that I don't think you know what's coming, because I don't think any of us do until we start tumbling down that road. So congratulations, and we'd like to welcome you. Chief Wisnett, the glue that binds. That's what I would say about this organization right now. You are the glue that binds this organization. Your heart and soul, your tireless hours, it's just continuous. And you're like that Energizer bunny. And I don't know when you switch those batteries out or when you find time to sleep, but thank you for your continued service and what you do for the North Carolina Fire Service and our board. And all the board members that I am honored and blessed to serve with, wow. I mean, just the caliber that sits around this table that I've been blessed to do life with and do the fire service with. The first time I met Kevin Gordon, we were at what was then called, I think it was Top Gun, the North Carolina Breathing School. And I was from a small department at that time, so they stuck me in a Charlotte group. And so Kevin and I almost died together a few times that week, but it's just amazing, you know, how far it goes back in the relationships that you build. And to all members of the North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs, we can't do this without you. And we truly thank you for the blessing to serve you. And OSFM, we wanted to come together as a group, and you have graciously give us your facility where we can meet all our guidelines, socially distance, and be together and see our membership out there as well. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the support of my previous fire departments. And when I say previous, I retired as a paid firefighter last year. But as I've walked through this board, I started with the Winston-Salem Fire Department, and they were gracious to back me and support me. So I would like to thank the Winston-Salem Fire Department for their support and getting me kicked off on this board. The Piedmont, North Carolina Firefighters Association that allowed me to even be a director for them on this board. And then the Kernersville Fire Department, which I retired from last year. My manager, just more than gracious and supportive. And now I work for the Winston-Salem County School System, and I thank them for their continued support as we work together to develop new, young firefighters in the fire service. And I would be totally wrong if I forgot my wife, who I'm blessed. Unfortunately, she is the only family member that's been allowed to attend today. And thank you, Renee, for your continued support. I mentioned earlier, it truly does take a family to support and to walk through what we do as this board, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment. So I thank you and all of our kids, all 12 of them, for what you do. No, I only have 3 kids. She wanted 12. So as I close out this meeting, it's customary for the incoming president to give a new theme, something that we've been working on, something that as we've walked through the different chairs on this board, that when we got the president, that we wanted to champion, that we wanted to, go out and say, hey, we're trying to make a difference in this way. And usually it's something that we're passionate about as the incoming president. And I joked with Chief Hall last year that his theme, taking care of those who take care of others, stole my thunder. That was like my mission of making sure that we're taking care of firefighters and taking care of the leadership. And I've become very passionate about peer support and our firefighter mental health. But the bottom line, there's nothing more that sums up what this board does and its endeavors. We are all passionate about the fire service as a whole, and especially about the leadership and the future leaders in this state. Every meeting, every planning session, the focus is always on the members that we serve, from recruitment and retention efforts to our fire prevention school, our training management program, and our flagship program, the executive development, to our focus on firefighter mental health with our partnership with the North Carolina Peer Support. It is focused on you, the fire service in North Carolina. With that continued focus, we want to announce that we are actively planning the Midwinter Conference in hopes we will have turned the corner on our fight against this current pandemic. And we will be together again as the North Carolina Fire Service in Concord. So Chief Hall, I've been blessed to have many great leaders to follow throughout my entire career, and I've learned from all of them. And if you will allow me, I would like to follow your lead and continue as our second year of our theme, taking care of those who take care of others. Because quite simply, that is what we strive to do. The Apostle Paul teaches us to watch, stand fast in faith, be brave, be strong. Let all that you do be done with love. I can assure you the passion that I'm blessed to be a part of on this board is nothing short of love. Love for the fire service. We are humbled to serve, and we will do everything in our power to honor our theme of taking care of those who take care of others. Again, I just want to say thank you. I am humbled to be standing here in front of you, no matter where you are. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for allowing us to be your North Carolina Association of Fire Chiefs Board. And this will conclude our meeting. And we thank you for joining us. And be safe. And may God bless you. And may God bless the North Carolina Fire Service.